This tutorial will instruct you on how to hire a student for an academic year job. Go to JobX located at this URL, or connect via the Student Employment webpage. Click on Work Study Employer Login. Your username is your Smith email address and the password you chose or were assigned when you registered as an employer. When you log in, you will be on your department's control panel. Under the section labeled Job Status Filter, find the job under List Mode, which means it is advertised, or under Review Mode. A job in storage mode must be moved into review and edited to ensure that it has at least one opening and the correct start and end dates. Students must always be hired on JobX before they begin to work per college policy. You can use the Hire a Student option anytime, whether you've used the online application process or not. To hire, click on Hire a Student. Type in the student's first and last name. Click Go to Step 2. Enter the number of hours the student will work. The minimum number of hours will appear in the box as a default, and you won't be able to hire for less than the minimum without changing it in the original job description. Hire the accurate number of hours the student is scheduled for. Don't do blanket hires of 10 hours per week, because if the student ends up working fewer hours and attempts to get a second job, the 10 hours will clash with the other hire and create problems for the other employer. You can always adjust the student's hours later in the hiring archive. Enter the student's ID number accurately. Click Check Student ID. Students must pass validation in order to be hired. If all red X's appear, the first likely problem is that the ID number was not correct. Verify the student's ID number. Any red X's that appear under Direct Deposit Decision, I-9, M4, and/or W-4 indicate payroll forms that the student has not yet completed. Students must complete all of their forms with payroll before they can be hired on JobX. They cannot work until they have submitted all of their forms and are hired on JobX. If one or all of the payroll forms are marked with a red X, please instruct the student to follow up directly with the payroll office. Payroll is a separate entity from the Student Employment Office. Student Employment oversees work study, job advertising, and hiring. Payroll handles the legal forms for working, banner web, and pay. Refer to their site for information regarding the various required forms, the pay period calendar, and how to use banner web. If the student has a red X indicating that she is not on work study, it could mean one of two things. If it is summer and you are trying to hire for the academic year, it could be that the student's financial aid application hasn't been read yet and an award issued. Try again at a later date or ask the student to check on her status with Student Financial Services. Otherwise, it could mean that the student is not on work study at all, which is why it is important to ask the question on the online application. Non-work study students have no priority for jobs until after October 1st in the fall or after the first 2 weeks of classes in the spring. Jobs must be advertised for eligible work study students leading up to these dates and candidates considered. In the case of some specialized jobs, a request for a non-work study student hire can be submitted. A request can only be submitted if the student has passed all the other validation results. The request form is located here. Please include a note at the bottom on why this candidate is preferred over a work-study eligible candidate. Click Submit Request. If your student passed validation with all green check marks, click Continue. Add her email address to the following page and verify all other information. Click Submit Request. She is then officially hired, and you will see your hiring request has been sent to the hiring archive. You should receive an email verification, but you can also click on the Hiring Archive at left, enter the student's name in the text box, and find the hiring record. Use this method to edit the student hours if she ends up working more or less. Also use the Hiring Archive anytime a student leaves your employment. Use Edit to change the end date to reflect her last day of employment, or delete if she never worked at all. Failure to do this creates a problem for the next employer because JobX will continue to show that she is already employed. To remove a student from Banner Web, you must also email a request to payroll at payroll@smith.edu. Edits performed on JobX after an official hire do not adjust any information already sent to payroll. The hiring data is sent to Banner in an overnight process. Depending on whether payroll is in the middle of a payroll cycle, the student's timesheet may appear on Banner Web the following day, or it may take them a few days to create it. Any questions regarding timesheets should be directed to payroll@smith.edu.